Hi everyone, welcome back to Combat Radius. Today we have a mission in the HS-129 doing some tank busting and airfield defense. This is from the Panzerknacker campaign. I absolutely love it, I highly recommend it, so I'll be making sure to post a link in the comment section below in case anyone wants to download it. So it looks like our airfield is already under artillery fire, so we're going to be getting airborne as quickly as possible. You can see out in the distance there, it looks like our high command is tactically retreating, it looks like, in some Ju-52s, I believe. And we have some armored vehicles to the west of the airfield that are preparing a... Ooh! Okay. Looks like the Russians already have us dialed in, so let's start rolling and get airborne as quickly as possible. If they're ranging artillery like this, it's probably not going to be too long before we see a massive bombardment. Okay, I'm at the end of the taxiway. We have two more HS-129s that are going to be getting airborne with us, so we're going to wait until our flight leader, the number 2 man, go out in front of us, and we'll come up behind them and make our way to the runway. Alright, we made our way to the runway. We just had the green flare indicating takeoff, and we're going to start rolling here. Now, the HS-129, despite being a 2-engine aircraft, actually squirrels quite a bit on the runway. You do have to apply not just rudder, but a decent amount of toe brake, just to keep the thing steady. It doesn't want to turn all that much, but when it starts turning, it wants to stay turning. So as long as you keep on top of it and you make sure that it's starting steady, it's really a pleasure to fly. It's not too difficult to take off in. Alright, I'm looking out my window here and you can see that large puff of smoke out there. That is actually the airfield we just took off from, so it looks like we got away just in time. We're approaching the target area now, but first I'd like to talk a little bit about the aircraft itself. So the HS-129, as far as the engines go, I would say this thing is very underpowered. Some would actually say that it actually has 2 half engines. Whereas if you lose one of these engines, you actually won't have enough power for stable flight and you'll slowly start to lose altitude. But it's just enough to probably coast back, if you're at like 1,000 meters, a few tens of kilometers. So if you're still close to the front line, you can still safely make your way back to friendly lines. As far as the protection, though, goes, there really isn't all that much around the airframe itself, except for the cockpit. As you can see looking around here, it's just armor plating everywhere. And I believe that they actually used to call this thing the flying bathtub as a result. So even if you do take a lot of damage, the pilot almost always tends to survive. So in this mission today, we're going to be doing some tank busting. If I can fly below my wingman here, you can see that there is this massive gondola under the fuselage. It's actually the MK-103 30mm cannon, specifically designed to knock out tanks, so it fires high-velocity armor-piercing rounds. It looks like our squad mate has detected a column ahead of us here. I'm looking around and... Okay, so I'm seeing 4 dots out to our 12 o'clock. I'm going to go to combat power and we're going to start our dive on those. See if we can ID what exactly they are. They're moving at a decent speed. Not quite sure what these might be, but we will go and take a look. We're going to trim down to steady her out, and we'll go for this lead vehicle. Okay, so these look to be T-34s. I'm gonna pound this front vehicle, and we're gonna pull up and boom, just like that, gone. That's one T-34 out, and hopefully that will stop the convoy. Yeah, look at that. They're all bunched up right behind it. Perfect. I'm extending out. I try to get at least 600 to 700 meters of altitude before I make a pass on armored targets like this. A lot of people would tell me that this vehicle is actually not very good at taking out tanks, but I think it actually does a very, very good job. And I think the issue is particularly in multiplayer campaigns that people are not utilizing it correctly. I feel like people tend to fire from too low of an angle, too slow, and from too far away to knock out tanks, whereas you can't treat this like a single large 75mm cannon where it's just one round and the tank is done. You need to kind of drill a hole through the armor, so you need to keep the paper on target and you need to hit it with several rounds. So we're coming in on the second tank here. He is not moving. Yep, we're just gonna lay it on him, and that's a second tank gone. Perfect. Look at that. You can see the two smoke columns from the tanks we knocked out. So those aren't just mission kills or maneuverability kills. Those are catastrophic kills. Those tanks are 100% out of the fighting. So as far as the cannon on this thing goes, the MK103, there were actually two versions. The first one was the MK101, which was fed from a drum magazine. So I believe it only held 30 rounds. The MK103, I believe, has a higher muzzle velocity, higher rate of fire, and is now belt fed, so it fires up to 80 rounds, I believe. Now we're coming in on this dive, and I want to try and get at least 400 kilometers an hour, because the faster that you are going in this thing, when you start to dive, the more stable it's going to be. And on a gun like this, you need stability. You can't just make, this is going to be a squirrely hit. Yeah, that's not the greatest pass. We're a little low, squirreled a little bit. I don't quite think I actually hit the 400 kilometers I wanted, so we'll stand out a little more and we'll try and get a little more altitude, a little more speed on the next pass. So I'm getting some altitude again for another pass, and I think we actually might have gotten a mission kill on that third tank. I don't see it moving. I see two more still moving ahead towards the airfield, so, I mean, so far we've knocked out 60% of this spearhead, which is fantastic. Let's see, it looks like, okay, I see a second tank off to the right, that one's moving. The front tank has stopped moving for some reason, so we're gonna go for him. We're at 350. Again, I'm not getting the speeds I'm really wanting here. Okay, now we're approaching 400. He's starting to move again. Give a little bit of lead. And that's a little low. Maybe some engine hits. Oh! Okay, so we did get that guy. Perfect. And the third one that I thought I destroyed is moving again. Okay, so now we've gotten 3 out of the 5 tanks. There's just something special about knocking out tanks with this gun. It just feels so satisfying to see the hits on target and watching those things pop. I see the 2 tanks are just passing the wreck of the third tank that we destroyed, and I'm also seeing some smoke columns off to the right here, so it looks like our squad mates are also doing work on some other vehicles that are a little further to the north. I'm gonna see if I can hit this lead vehicle again. I think this might have been the third man that we hit previously. Hopefully, if he's got a little bit of damage, he might be easy to knock out again. We do have 400 kilometers an hour this time. So we're going to lay the pipper on him a little high, and beautiful. Look at that. Perfect kill. And there's only one tank left, and we actually destroyed that fourth tank with the last bit of ammunition. We just ran dry. You could see there in the upper left, Maschinenkonnen. Oh, excuse my German. If anyone can read that. All right, so we're flying a little bit out to the north here, and man, just look at the airfield. They're absolutely getting pounded. Looks like we have some ground fire defending from the east, but one of our squad mates just called out a column of advancing troop transports right below us here. You can see one of them is already on fire. Looks like our wingman is doing a good job knocking some of these out. So we're going to make a pass on these. Now, the HS-129 also carries a pair of 7.92 machine guns and two 20mm I believe MG-151s. So trucks like this should pose no issue for this vehicle. We're going to spray this guy with the machine guns. We can save the cannons for maybe half-tracks or anything a little more dangerous that we see. That should be enough. Yeah, I saw quite a few of those rounds go into the driver's seat, so yeah, that truck is going to be toast. All right, we're going to be coming back around for another pass on these trucks. I don't have to be as accurate as I was with the tanks, so I can afford to come in a little closer and a little sooner, a little slower. I might not have the proper aim I want for this, but you don't really need much for these trucks. Like, look at that. Oh, that guy's having a bad day. I mean, even just with the 7.92s, we're able to knock out the driver, basically strafe anyone who's sitting in the back of that truck, and knock out the engine. So, perfect. Hopefully that'll thin out the numbers for our defending troops. All right, so we just got word that that column of troop transports are in retreat. Looks like we successfully defended that attack, but just looking out at our airfield here, and looks like they've taken quite the beating. I'm seeing two hangars, two of the large hangars that are just completely on fire. There's some more ground fire. Ooh, and if you look down here, oh my God, there's a whole line of Katyushas that are firing right now at the airfield. Oh my. Oh, look at the airfield just getting pounded. Oh, there goes another hangar. It looks like most of those rockets are falling short though, but we want to deal with these guys ASAP. You could see the trails of smoke from the launchers down there, and the airfield is just absolutely demolished. Everything is on fire down there. I think I see maybe one hangar still standing, so we want to get rid of these guys as soon as possible. They're still firing down there. even if we are able to defend the airfield, we want to try and limit the damage as much as we can. Although, at this point, there might not really be all that much left. Okay, so we got some altitude. Let's start getting some speed, and I'm just going to let it rip down the line here. You can see them all parked on the road, and there they go. They're firing again. We want to steady out here, especially if we're going to be transitioning from one target to another. We need this thing to be as stable as possible. All right, we're going to come in on the first target. That's a little bit to the left, or the right. Oh, our teammates are hitting one. Okay, oh my god, we're missing all of these. Okay, so we're gonna go right down the line. We're just gonna lay down the trigger. See how many got, oh, maybe 3. I think maybe we got 3 or 4 on that. 4 of them. And you can see our ground fire is also hitting quite a few of these guys as well. So, not bad, but we do want to get the rest of these guys as well. Ooh, look at that, there goes a 5th one. Okay, it looks like only a few of these guys remain. We're gonna line up on one here that appears to be intact. And we're just gonna let him have it. There we go, he's down. And then, ooh, we don't wanna fly into the rockets. Nope, 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 nope. All right. Just one launcher left, and I think our airfield will be safe. Somewhat. Right, as we were coming around, our friendly HS-129s and our ground fire were also firing on these guys, and look at that, we just did a absolute number on this column. Most of these tanks are burning. So I think we're going to be safe to come into landing. You can see some 109s overhead giving us top cover. They have their navigation lights on as well. Looks like they're going to be coming into land as well. And we'll make a quick flyby of the airfield here to inspect the damage. You can see, yeah, I'm seeing fuel storage on fire. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the large hangars are completely destroyed, smoke everywhere. One's still intact, and surprisingly, it seems that a lot of the parked aircraft are still intact. So luckily we didn't lose our fighting